Hi, this is Ed Feingold, editor of Billing Views, and this is the Billing Views whiteboard. Today we're talking about cloud to cloud. What is cloud to cloud? We've had some articles about this. Now we're going to dig into it a little bit because we've had some questions. Here's the idea. We know that in data centers now we see certain components moving off-site. And so the general idea here is that a lot of the core billing process has to stay on-site in the data center, can't really be moved out. But adjunct pieces certainly can be and are. And sometimes those are things that are being moved out, and sometimes they're things that need to be added to the process or to the solution. And they're being done so with components from the cloud that present APIs that can be called. So those could be things like payments, direct-to-bill charging, tax component, which is usually done as a third-party component, certainly could be put into the cloud, and electronic bill presentment and payment. But what's in these clouds is less important than what's going on here. And so what happens is that we're moving back to a silo scenario here. So we used to have this islands of mechanization problem in OSS BSS, and that's what spurred a lot of the systems integration work that we saw in the late 90s especially, to try to integrate end-to-end processes. And a lot of that's been accomplished, starting out with things like EAI and ultimately getting to things like web services and the kind of API mashups we see now, things like that. All kinds of different enterprise integration strategies. And so now that we're moving out to the cloud, we're breaking some of that out, and we're moving functions into individual vendor clouds, and they're kind of going into their own cloud silos. And so the execs over here, they're happy, right? They're smiling, high-fiving, because they're moving cost out of the data center. But the engineers over here, they're not so happy. And part of that is because they're letting go of their kingdom a little bit. But more so it's because all this integration they've built and have been maintaining is now getting broken down into these pieces, and they're losing some of the visibility perhaps that they had. And they want to recapture some of that. So what do they need? Ultimately what they need to do is they need some visibility to link these things together. Right? Let's link these clouds together, and let's ultimately get one dashboard, right, that gives us the views that we need across all these clouds. Let us recapture at least visibility and analytical reporting capability across all those clouds, and certainly process integration across the clouds wherever it's warranted. That's ultimately what these guys need, and so that's the idea of cloud to cloud. But let's flip it around now and think less of it about the telco piece and what they're dealing with, and think more of it in terms of the enterprise. So the same set of issues. The executives are happy. They move stuff out of the data center, move dollars out, and they're still getting the capabilities they need. But the engineers, again, they're unhappy, and they want to have this cloud-to-cloud capability. And so here's the deal: is that these could all be from different vendors. Or the systems they're running on are from different vendors. So they get moved out to different clouds that could be specific to the hardware underlying them or to the application provider. And these guys want connectivity among them. And so here's where I think the telcos end up having an opportunity to provide a real advantage. Because in a telco cloud offering, what they can basically say is, look, we can create this big public cloud. We can build virtual private clouds inside of it. We can secure the heck out of that stuff. But at the same time, we're the ones that are going to provide this connectivity. So if this is high performance, secure, high reliability networking to connect all these clouds together, whether the telco is providing that cloud or not, they can provide the cloud to cloud. They can provide the connectivity amongst all of that. And that is a really highly valuable cloud offering from the telcos. And I think that's one of the places where telcos can win in the cloud to cloud market. And that's ultimately what this opportunity is about. We're seeing the trend already of applications moving out of the data center. Telcos want to know where's their best offering. So sure, you could compete head-to-head with the big hardware vendors and just offer the cloud/data center type services. But the leg up, right, is always how do we maximize the fact that we own all the communications infrastructure and use that to our best advantage as a differentiator and really a difference maker in the offering. And this is how. It's connecting the clouds. So just provide the cloud, provide the connectivity, and ideally provide smart connectivity, secure connectivity, robust, on-demand, all those kinds of things that these enterprises need, so it really aligns with the way that they want to use these applications, their requirements for things like redundancy and fault tolerance and security, but also the fact that different times in the month, they're going to have different levels of utilization on these different applications, and the connectivity they're provided that they pay for should go along with that usage level and not just be a hard fixed cost for them, because that also breaks down the model of what they're trying to do here, which is getting fixed cost basically off the balance sheet and and out of the out of the data center. And that is the cloud-to-cloud opportunity in a nutshell.